Hello everyone at home. My name is Pastor Mandla Sithole. We are here on our Empowered Youth podcast. Let us go, guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know the drill, yeah. Thank you so much, guys. We are having Pastor Tato, our Deputy Director.
Hi, guys.
Can you greet, people at home?
How's everybody doing? It's so nice to see you. Please like, subscribe, and share. And also drop your shout-outs and your comments in the comment section.
Exactly.
We would love to know where you are watching this from. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We are joined by brother Neo Moseta today. We are going to unpack the gender-based violence topic. So how are you, Puti? Can you please just introduce yourself and greet our young people at home?
Thank you so much to be hosted by this empowered youth. What a moment, you know. I'm so excited to be part of this, and especially when we are looking into gender-based violence. Well, my name is Neo Moseta and the founder of Jita, and I've got a great team that we're working together. Oh my goodness, we want to build our men, we want to build our young boys, you know, to be better men, you know, to be better men of tomorrow, especially when we are faced with such a challenge in the church, in our community, and everywhere. So we really need stronger men. And stronger in which way? You know, we need to indulge in that and talk about it and see how best we can do this. And I'm excited about it.
Thank you so much. I remember you joined us in our previous conference in Bloemfontein. So thank you so much for establishing such a powerful NPO. It's a non-profit organization, right? Yes. It's a faith-based non-profit organization that deals with issues around men, gender-based violence, becoming stronger leaders in our society and in our families. I think the word Qina Jita means be strong, be a strong man.
Yeah, be strong man.
And your mission is to actually build a responsible, purpose-driven men, especially who will impact our the next generation as well, and also have an impact in society. Yeah, guys, let us talk about this topic. I think gender-based violence is a topic that has been going around for quite some time, and it's one of the issues that as a country we are facing, and even our government have different programs, and there are different organizations such as Jita that are actually trying to make awareness, you know, on how as a country we can focus and mitigate the gender-based violence. We've seen in social media and also in television how our women and young people, the kids, the children actually are being abused by fathers and brothers, uncles who are supposed to be protectors. Maybe the issue is around not understanding our role in society. How can we contribute to that? Maybe before we dive into that, can we just maybe Tato share us your understanding of gender-based violence and the impact it has in our society? So if we can maybe start by you, and then Neo will also share based on his experience and the work that they are doing as an organization on how this impacts societies, families, and maybe share your experience in terms of cases that we have seen, and you know, instability that has taken place in families. Sometimes it will result into divorce, into death. There are a lot of people who get arrested because of gender-based violence, and I think even government is tired now in terms of the intake of people who are imprisoned because or castrated because of this concept or this thing of gender-based violence. Start off to you, our Deputy Director.
Well, guys, I think this is one of the most sensitive topics that we can handle, and partly the reason for us as men we decided to discuss this is because I believe that men are in the main, the majority of the time, men are the culprits or the perpetrators of gender-based violence. So gender-based violence is just simply violence towards the opposite gender. So obviously there are cases where females, you know, commit gender-based violence against the men, but in the main, it is the men who actually commit acts of violence against females. And it's something that we need to we need to actually discuss, but not just to discuss as a matter of occurrence, because these things are happening, whether we discuss them or not. But we need to be the solution finders as men.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to say, young people and those who are watching, our mothers and fathers, is that it will stop right here with us.
Yeah.
So as gents here, we are discussing this matter so that we can find solutions, so that we can call out our brothers, we can call out our colleagues, we can call out our friends, we can call out, people that we are close to who we know are committing violence against women and sometimes against children. So that we can actually be the solution to the problem and not just be bystanders. Because I think most of the times as men, because we shy away from rocking the boat or calling out our friends and our brothers and our relatives, because we feel like they will think that we are weak. Because I think it stems from that. The desire to exert dominance, to exert power over what seems to be the weaker gender. But the Bible does not say that the females are weaker, but it says we should treat them as weaker vessels, meaning that God gave women or females for our benefit, to complement us as men. But we are now doing a disservice to God's vision. I just want to put it out there. There's a lot that I can say, but I just want to put it out there that gender-based violence does not come from God. God hates any kind of violence, but specifically violence against those that we are called to protect and to lead. So as men, we are taking the lead now. As empowered men, we are saying that gender-based violence will stop with us. But we are going to discuss the signs, how to actually avoid finding yourself in those situations. But I think for me, we need to have this discussion so that we may find solutions.
And on what we are, just to add on what you are saying, we need to rebuke it, especially when it happens within the Christian community. 100%. We can never, and we will never tolerate gender-based violence. So we are not saying it's good when it's happening outside the church, but it's very disappointing to hear stories that some men of God, some people that are part of the governing body or a part of the elders in church, or any other person who has declared that he's born again and then is now a perpetrator. So we just need to have courage even to rebuke if there is a person that you know of or you have seen doing this, that person must be rebuked. Yes, there is ingalo yomthetho, there is police, there's one, but it must be rebuked as well. And also another thing that is troubling me is that sometimes within the Christian family, when these things come up, we are the ones who will tend to just try and fix the matter, and then don't separate that when a person is actually doing gender-based violence, that person does need counseling. That person needs to be arrested because he is against the laws, and we should uphold the laws of South Africa. So I really, it's not something that you have said. We must not shy away from it. We must confront it. We must rebuke it. So let's give it to you. What can you say on this topic?
I think as Mr. Tato has mentioned earlier, to say, this thing has been going for some time. And we really need to do something about it, and especially as the church, we are the light of our community.
Exactly.
We don't have to be that church that will be under the lamp that will be put under the table. So we need to shine. So we need to be the role models.
Exactly.
When we speak about, good family values, people need to copy it from us. But it's unfortunately, sometimes you can't separate the two. Tato is going to church, but he's doing the same like those who don't go. So you don't separate the two. So with our experience, I think most of the cases where the gents, and we speak most with the gents, men, older and younger, and some of them you will hear how they relate the stories. I would say maybe the cause of people ending up doing what they are doing. It starts with the dysfunctionality of family structure.
Yeah.
There's a saying in Tswana that I always say, "Gore le ojwa le sampana le le metsi." Work on it when he's still young. These boys, our boys grow up with anger. Our boys grow up without role models, good role models from the family. They don't even know how to handle a woman. They don't even know how to, to treat a woman. They don't know how to treat another human being because they are growing up in a family setup where there is violence. So what he knows, or when he grows up, is this thing for my voice to be heard, I need to be physical and be aggressive. So that's the unfortunate that we are sitting with. We are trying to deal with men. We are trying to address men. We are trying, because as you said, it's the men. Unfortunately, we know the women are also, they can do some damage on other men. And when you go to the police station, unfortunately, you are not being entertained as a man. So the stats may not be a true reflection of the two, because you'll find out that there are many cases that men kept quiet without reporting because, I know what's going to happen. But my problem is it starts at the family setup. If it is not well structured, things go wrong. A lot of things. As I said, we are trying to address men, but the problem is not there. You are dealing with a bigger problem by then. What we could have done is that when they were growing up, we could have done something to structure them well so that they can understand
the boy child. Like
I'm grown, I'm married for about 13 years right now, but I can tell you there are certain things when I sit with my wife, I just say, what is this now? And I'm learning more from her because she comes from a very good family, a well-structured family, but there's a lot of things that I'm learning from her, even, to buy roses, even to buy, certain things to come from home. Like Tatu said, when we were off the, when we were discussing before we went online.
I think you're taking notes of buying roses.
Can we not? Can we just stick on topic?
But the only voice that we know when you grow up like that is to be aggressive.
Sure.
Then that is why a person can be reported today, tomorrow he repeats it because it lives in him. So we've got a serious problem. Exactly.
So now what about the perception that when we grow up as men, because we're all men, so you are being taught to be strong, in a certain way. So now, which is something that happens most of the time outside of the family, as you now engage with other young same people of your same age or people who are older outside. Because I want us to move from family to community and culture. So we grew up in different areas. I grew up in rural areas where a person who is a man, so is perceived to demonstrate, his character in a certain level. So is it not that a contributor, even daughter? I know Jita means be strong, as well, which is also speaking about as a man you must be strong. But now that strongness sometimes is not being limited, it's not being controlled, and so that people can not go overboard and now doing it in a wrong way. But being strong, I think it's more about an issue of identity, knowing yourself, who are you, and have that inner endurance as a man, because we are taught with the man does not cry, but he cries, from within. So I think those are the things that we need to unlock, to say it's okay to cry. I think when I got to church now, as I'm getting baptized by the Holy Spirit now, I'm starting to cry, which is something that I've been taught not to do.
It's foreign to
the culture. So now it's foreign to my culture to cry in church. Like I see myself from crying. So it's okay. Maybe outside, yes, the first issue is family dysfunctionality, but also as the society, a person who has grown up in a township, will then develop or just be influenced rather by the township style, also a person like when you are from KZN, when we talk that indoda yomzulu, there is already that perception that indoda yomzulu is like this. There's a perception of indoda of Mtswana is like this. So how do we deal with the issue of culture contributing towards our young people, especially being aggressive instead of being tender?
I think it's our responsibility as men. I appreciate platforms like this podcast, because it's one of the way of dealing with this speaking openly about this matter, because the moment we keep quiet and you keep it to yourself, the other child or the other man wouldn't know to say, can I talk about it or not? Maybe it's a deep thing that we don't talk about it, but we need to create more platforms to say we
Create
need
a
to
safety space.
exactly where we can talk about and break these barriers, because these are barriers where they are also limiting us. Because at the end of the day, if you say to me, Indota Aikali, so right now, I like to talk about myself. I got married and became the father of a wonderful young man. There are certain things that when I look back, I never dealt with them. In the community setup, in the family setup, in the church.
Sure.
There were no platforms that we can talk, talk and ask questions with the other men. You had to run to the pastor every time. And the pastor sometimes has got a bigger crowd to look after. But what about the other men that are in the church? What is their responsibility? What are they doing? So if we create a platform to talk about these things and say, you know what? Young men, it is okay to cry. Young men, this is how you treat a woman. Now you are taking out whatever that he has learned in the community, where they say Indota Aikali or Indota must not do. Indota must not do this and what you call, or Indota can't do this and what you call. So when we speak about those things, we start to open up, and then more voices will come through and say, oh my goodness. Since we started with Jita, we saw people flooding in, men, boys coming in and say, I have a problem. When we were driving here, I received a call from the UK, one of the guys who used to be this side. He says, I'm sitting in a situation whereby I don't know what to do anymore. Now I've got this problem here, and now I'm being denied an access to my children, and we just moved together with my wife now, and this is a problem. It's killing me, it's eating me. I'm about to do something that is wrong. I said, my brother, you do not do that. Remember, you've got your kids. You've got this. If you do anything wrong, you're gonna go to jail. You're not gonna come to me for prayer. You're gonna go to. You're gonna face You're gonna face the mighty law of that country. So those are the things that we need to tell our brothers. These are the consequences. Because sometimes when Tato says this woman is this, or this lady this, or this young person this, I don't rebuke him. I say, no, don't worry, or it will be well, it will be fine. No, I must be honest with Tato and say, Tato, man, I can see you are not in a safe space. I'm in the transport industry, in the trucking industry. One of my drivers phoned in the middle of the night about some few years ago. He says, I just found my wife with another man in the house. And he's an ex-security guy. He's got a gun also. He says, I'm going to shoot all of them in the house. Fortunately, God made him to give me a call in the middle of the night while I was sleepy. I had to, and then I was reluctant to answer that call. I had to wake up and answer that call. And when I spoke to him, I realized this man is so angry and he's gonna do something that he's gonna regret thereafter. But fortunately, he had somebody to give a call, to call. Now, wherever you are, do you have somebody that you can call at any given time when you are in that trouble? As a man, by the way, or as a young man. When I'm in trouble, when I'm faced with all these things, when my pastor is not around, when my mom is not around, who can I call? Are we available to be, a shoulder for another man to cry upon?
Sure.
Because most of the time I come to Tato, let's go and watch Kaizer Chiefs. I get there, Chiefs loses.
Just adds to the
Mosoro
to the frustration.
No. Sorry, let's not talk about that. That's my team.
Sorry to Kaizer Chiefs fans.
So, but we will go out. We will never head on have that a conversation to say, bruh, the reason I came to you, this is the matter. How do you help me? Or what can I do? Can I talk to you? So we need to open up ourselves and be available.
So it means you must be your brother's keeper.
Yes.
And be available. I like that. Maybe just take us through. Okay, guys, let's discuss the issue of signs before you take us through on the preventative measures that we can try and employ towards this situation. So the signs of aggressiveness, what could it be? How do we say that someone is now having a risk of doing gender-based violence? Because I think it doesn't start as a violence, but it starts internally, where there is internal battle within one person, and then how do we identify these signs and try to help people out there as early as possible before it's too late. It's because I think people who are in jail, if there was someone who could help them early, they wouldn't be in the situation where they have found themselves in.
So I think it's a great point, Pastor Mandla. I think in terms of violence, I think it's just a build-up of pent-up frustration. You know, usually people go to the default avenue, right? So if you cannot articulate yourself in a way that you express your feelings, then what would be the easiest way to do that? Is to
be physical.
To be physical as a man, because you know that you have physical dominance over the other person, right? So maybe the battle of ideas, the battle of actually exploring your feelings as a man, say, you know, I feel inadequate. Because I think most of the men that are engaging in gender-based violence are men who actually have a sense of inadequacy in some level. They could be a CEO, but there's an element where they feel it's not enough. And when they get in a situation where they feel like a woman is actually touching on that spot, on that inadequacy, they feel like the only other way is to exert my physical dominance onto you, because they haven't learned, you know, the tools of actually, you know, releasing the valve. Because if you don't release the valve, what's going to happen? It will be an explosion. So there are levels where you will notice that you're actually getting to the end of your limit. And one of the things is when you instead of engaging in an issue, you choose to withdraw. That is the first sign that I've noticed. Men who normally withdraw and don't want to talk about a situation, and it's not the same as, you know, I'm not okay now, just give me time to cool off and I'll get back to you. They just close it off. Okay. It's just they shut themselves down, and they don't want to talk even about their past, their struggles. And as Mr. Moseta says, that it starts from an early age. You see your father not being a loving dad, not having, you know, men to men or boy to men conversations on how life, the issues of life and how to deal with anger, frustration, and difficulties in life. Then you grow up with that sense that the only way to release what is inside of you is to act out in violence. So I think one of the first things that you need to note is, if you're having a build-up of frustration, do you withdraw or do you seek help? That's the first thing. Number two that I want people to notice, both genders, male and female, if a guy does not want to lose or does not, I'm trying to find a better way to actually express this. If a guy refuses to lose an argument, then that is red flag, like neon signs.
Yeah, because the perception is that you, as a guy,
yes,
even in
it's
marriage,
your last word.
You have a final word.
You have the final word.
And so if a debate, as a man of this house,
that's it.
Yeah. So
my way. So if a man
a
refuses to lose an argument, arguments are not good. But when you're having healthy argument and a man is like, no, I said what I said, then that's a sign. It's not always the case that they will end up in violence, but it can be a sign that they never ever want to be in a position where they feel inadequate.
But I think it's lack of empowerment. We are not being empowered as men. So you see now, even now in our days, there are a lot of seminars that women attend. They are being empowered. Women are being taught to be independent. You know, they don't need a man to succeed in that. And we are happy because we are starting to see a different breed of women who are not dependent on men, who are taking position, taking space. You know, recently there has been Miss South Africa, and then you could see and listen when you're listening to those ladies. They are really, they're full house, they're empowered, their responses, you know, the perception, the insight that they have. So, but at the same time, the community is not doing justice to us. There are lesser seminars for men, there are lesser talk for men, and really you are getting married and you are expected to lead a person who is much more powerful. There's something that I always say in church. Women are more powerful than men. So it's always become as an argument. That's why God says we must treat them as weaker vessels, because in body and in shape they might be weaker, but they have been designed in a certain way, you know. So we'll talk about that some other time.
Just to add on what you just said, you know, the less empowerment and all. I think we are also responsible. If I'm a father of a daughter, I'll make sure that I become so protective, you know, growing up and everything, making sure that I invest so much. But a boy child, he can be in the streets till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Imagine if it is a girl, everybody will say, no.
Yeah.
Like now I have a girl and a boy.
Yeah.
The girl is older, but when she cries, I attend to her.
Exactly.
Quicker. But when my boy, I love my boy,
Yeah.
but when he cries, because I'm teaching him to be man, so I'll become like, why are you crying? No, just stop crying.
Yeah. Boys don't cry.
This, you know, they ask like, stop crying. Like it's a command, it must stop now. So I think we need to change that. Even on how we are parenting our kids, you know, we should not give them different parenting styles. So, but rather we should treat them as a human being, because later on, you know, he will then start
to manifest
to exercise, starting by overpowering his sister, and then it becomes even worse when he get married.
And the question should be, what type of men are we raising today?
That's a very important.
The boy that you're looking at today
will be a man.
Is somebody's husband tomorrow. So
if he's not dealing with emotions,
exactly.
So actually, it's not gonna catch up with you. It will catch up with the lady that will be a wife of that of a young person.
That is why I always say it is all our responsibility. It doesn't matter if that is your biological child or not, but it becomes your because the same boy that you are neglecting today, who is not biologically your child, may be the one who will marry your daughter. So if you do not do nothing, maybe the same boy who will be abusing your child tomorrow, and every now you'll be called in the house to say, please mama, come and see again, he's beating me up, you know, because you neglected, you did not do nothing. Everybody right now, they are thinking about, no, I'm only doing it for me and my family. It's not about you and your family. That's why even the church, we welcome everybody, and everybody knows me in my church also to say, I will rather welcome everybody. If you attend church every Sunday and then I see you every Sunday, but the new person comes in, I would rather attend that new person and give him the special attention and give that person a hug and what you call, because that's very important. A person must feel welcome so that he can come and learn. We've got criminals that are coming into the church, but they leave the church being criminals. We've got abusers coming into the church. They leave the church
no
being
transformation.
Exactly. So why? Because we tend to just look at ourselves. No, I know Pastor Manga is my friend. After
and also we're teaching our men. We don't talk with men. We teach men through actions. You know, I think that's another thing where, as a man, you must observe and learn. But now, I think we should get into a point where you must speak and learn, be taught and learn. Because when you're growing up, you are being taught indoor a man does like this, you know. And men, you know, I think it's time that we start to speak out and allow them to speak out as well.
We have to.
And I think it also goes to gender loyalty. I think we have a toxic loyalty to our gender, and this is what creates gender wars. So what you guys are saying now is that I will not call you out, not because I don't see what you're doing is wrong, but because I have such an affinity, such a loyalty to my gender, is that I
unconscious biasness.
Yes, thank you very much. So we become impartial to our gender because we feel like, hey, this guy is he's actually exposing the worst of our gender. So I would rather not even touch that topic. But this is,
and then if you don't touch it, you'll be like you're not cool.
Exactly. So now we wanna hold on to our manhood card, you know, our club card to be members of this, you know, gender which God loves more than other genders. You know, but that's a problem, because now the question is, where is our loyalty?
Exactly.
Is our loyalty to our gender or to God? You know, so now if we have an affinity to God, is that I don't care what other men would think of me. I might as well lose my friendship. I might as well lose my networks Pastor Mandla, I might as well lose my connections or business opportunities, but I will not tolerate a man who is displaying violence against the perceived weaker vessel that he is supposed to be protecting. So as men, those of you who are watching and listening, please let us get out of this toxic loyalty of being a man. Call out where you see, and it does not start with aggression, physical aggression. Yeah, it starts with verbal aggression, or your posture. Yeah. So you need to call him out. Fit, dude. Yeah, just come down. Because as you say, there's a point where the man who called you to say that I'm about to do this, to do something wrong. Before he gets there, he has a moment. There's a window of reflection. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But sometimes we as men, we don't use that window to say, "Now I can see, you are even sweating. Can you please calm down?"
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I just want us to just say your takeaway from this conversation, and then your last words, and so that we can be able to wrap up, and also Tato will do the same, and then we're good to go.
So to Amajita Buffet, to men out there Buffet, you know what? We are good Buffet. You know, I still believe in my heart. I know there's so much that is said about us. Men are trash, men are this. But let me tell you something. There are good men out there. There are great men out there. But the only thing that will take us far, when something is wrong, please, as we discussed today, call it out. Don't even try to associate yourself with the wrong things. Be accountable to God. Don't fear men, fear God. Because I think the reason we end up where we are is because we tend to fear people. Because it's my brother, because it's my sister, because it's my pastor, because it's my leader, because of this. No, if it is wrong, it is wrong. Not in our presence, not in our name. Rise, daughter, rise.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Well, this was another insightful, thought-provoking discussion. I think I can end with this testimony. I've been fortunate that even though I witnessed gender-based violence, even in the home or work or school setting, I've been fortunate that in my lifetime, I have never ever laid a finger on a female or on a girl or on a woman. And that was not because maybe I'm better than others or maybe because I come from another planet, but it's because of the family structure, how I was raised. That strength is not seen in your physique. Men, young men, your strength is not in your physique. Your strength is in your ability to control your emotions. The strongest men are those who are able to control the emotions. You are being provoked. Like you are being provoked, but you have this inner strength to say, no, I will not act out. That is a strong man.
That's powerful. Thank you so much, guys. Young people at home, please catch up with us on our next episode. We really appreciate Neo. Thank you so much for taking time to be here. Pastor Tato, our deputy director. Thank you so much for co-hosting this episode. Guys, till we meet again, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and get people to join. Get people to join and to follow this page and like as well. So thank you so much, guys. That is the end of our episode. Empowered youth.
Good night.
Good night.